Welcome to the review of the Cedar Chapel Special School Parent Curriculum Night held in January 2015 to review the new initiatives that have been implemented during the 14-15 school year. For parents and families that were unable to attend, we have created this digital copy for your information. My name is Belinda Gulias. I am the principal of Cedar Chapel Special School, and I will be guiding you through an overview of two primary programs and the midpoint growth that teachers and staff have observed. Please feel free to contact us at any time to clarify any of the following information. The first program that we will review is the Social Emotional Vocabulary Project. The second program that we will discuss is the Guided Mathematics Project. The first project that we will talk about is the Social Emotional Assessment. During the initial collaboration sessions, staff discussed the clear connections of communication to student behavior and saw that this school improvement project as another proactive strategy for supporting positive student behavior by giving students the tools they need to express their feelings. We found this quote that truly resonated with our mission. What we sometimes see as a failure to behave properly is actually a failure to communicate properly. With communication as the primary focus, staff then began the school improvement process by completing some internal research in the area of social emotional development. We met Ms. Santiago at the 2014 Council for Exceptional Children Conference, where we were able to discuss her recent participation in Project SELF, Social Emotional Learning Foundations. Through professional conversations with Ms. Santiago, the University of Florida assisted us by sharing the project criteria and lesson models. Following various collaborative sessions with teachers, the team narrowed in on 10 high-frequency emotional words that seemed to be directly connected to communication and student behavior. The next step was for us to create our own social emotional vocabulary library in order to provide consistent language and pictures in all classrooms with all students. Each of the 10 high-frequency emotional words included 2 line drawings, 2 photographs, and language that comprises of definition, synonyms, and emotional applications as seen on this slide. We do strongly encourage parents and families to also use this social emotional vocabulary library at home to reinforce student communication by providing students with the language to label emotions in real-world experiences. The team then prioritized our assessment by creating 3 areas which included identification, application, and description. As the assessment developed, teachers also articulated a need for including photographs as well as line drawings. By adding this particular element, we were also able to glean some very important implications for the classroom based on the data that was collected. On this slide, you will see how students have performed from October to December. On the yellow line are the results of the baseline taken in October. The green line indicates the increase in student performance that occurred at the end of December. The data also clearly connects some significant implications for the classroom. If we take a look at A1 and B1, which are line drawings, in comparison to A2 and B2, which are photographs, we can see that students are responding to pictures at a much higher performance rate. The classroom implication that is supported by the data indicates that building background knowledge with photographs may help students increase social emotional communication. Another area that was very interesting was B2, which is the largest area of student performance at 90%. Although teachers were positive that the identification of emotions located on the left would have been the foundation skills for most students, The data, however, supports that students are responding much better to the application of photographs on the right. The implication for the classroom is based on the data tells us that students benefit from explanations that are based in real-world experiences rather than emotion symbols in isolation. Here is the growth that students are achieving since October. In late March, we will add the final data in light green. Although all areas have increased performance, we are most interested in the fact that the students have increased in the areas associated with A1 and B1. We see this increase as a way for students to generalize their knowledge from photographs to line pictures, and ultimately visual language that can also become a mode of communication through electronic dynamic devices or interactive picture cards. Area C is description has seen the highest rate of improvement. This area is reserved for students with some or limited verbal language, as students are required to create their response rather than make choices from multiple pictures or drawings, and indicate that when applicable, students are clearly taking ownership of their learning in areas A and B. In section C, they are using the adjectives to describe each emotion. Now let's move to the guided mathematics project. Our curriculum resource teacher, Mrs. Bess Cropper, conducted internal research that incorporated an entire year of exploration into available mathematics programs. We found that there was no one program that supported the basic foundational mathematics that our students needed to prepare them for more complex areas of algebra. However, the Learning Trajectories approach by Clements and Sarema included 4 essential elements that we felt would support a deep understanding of foundational mathematics skills. These included numerals, comparing and ordering numbers, recognizing numbers and subitizing, and counting. When we modified many of the elements to meet the needs of our students with limited or no verbal language, we found an assessment that we could use. On the left, you will see how students are presented with testing materials. For this assessment item, students view the work area with the 10 frame for just a few seconds in order to evaluate if a student can immediately identify the number of dots without counting by touching each one of them. On the right is an example of how students can tell what he or she knows by pointing, touching, or eye-gazing to the correct answer. Teachers can also use concrete manipulatives to support student interactions with the math concepts by placing objects on the dots. This data shows how students have performed on the mathematics assessment. Again, on the yellow line are the results of the baseline data in October. The green line indicates the increase in student performance that occurred at the end of December. The implications for the classroom are simple. Continuing to work with students in these 4 essential areas will increase their depth of knowledge in basic foundational skills and prepare students for modified grade level content. This slide shows us the growth that students are achieving since October. In late March, again, we will add the final data in light green. Although all areas have increased performance, we are most interested in the 19 to 22 point growth across all assessed elements. This indicates that students are being provided consistent guided mathematics instruction based on their individual needs. For example, if a student is doing well in the area of numerals, the teacher may adjust instruction to spend additional time in subitizing in order to focus lessons in the areas of need. How do we work on numbers 1 through 10? We work on numerals by teaching students the symbols for each number as we would teach vocabulary words in reading. When we compare and order numbers, we ask students to find the larger or smaller amount, as well as the larger or smaller numeral which represents an amount. As we work on recognizing numbers and subitizing, we ask students to look at patterns of numbers and recognize the amount without counting, as we would with dice or 10 frames. This skill helps to visualize numbers. And counting consists of organizing objects in order to accurately calculate the number in the most efficient way. When we see that students are mastering the numbers 1 through 10 for the four essential areas in the learning trajectories, the next steps include county-wide programs that will provide students with additional learning based on their individual levels. Along with the Cedar Chapel internal data from their teacher-created activities in Visual, we are also able to collect performance data through iReady and Dreambox. This gives teachers another valuable tool in order to better meet the individual needs of students based on real-time data so that individualized instruction can be created. We have shared a lot of information in this presentation. If you have questions or would like to discuss your child's progress, please feel free to contact us at Cedar Chapel. We will be happy to answer any of your questions.